What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to CRÜZR Radio, episode number 9. I'm your host, Wesley Hill, joined with Mr. Chad Rice, as well as someone you haven't met before, Mr. Michael Brandon. And our special guest this week is Mr. Kyle Peterson. He owns the Whitleyville Station, which is a deer processing and butchery shop, as well as this man is an avid deer hunter. We're excited to talk to him about all things cutting up deers and get a little bit of backstory about him as well. So let's get into it. What's up, guys?
Hey, Wesley. What's up?
What's up, Michael? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, dude.
Chad, thank you for coming on.
Of course, man.
Mr. Kyle, thank you for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to have you. So
Cool.
I want to jump right into it, man. So you have been doing processing for how long?
5 years in Whitleyville. I've been doing my own deer for as long as I've been hunting.
Since you started, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I started hunting. It was to make meat.
Yeah.
But so I've been doing there in Whitleyville since 2018.
Okay. Have you always lived in Whitleyville?
I live here in Cookeville.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that
I have
either.
a farm down there,
Okay.
a little cabin, but
That's cool.
my kids are in school here and they don't want to move. So
Yeah.
maybe eventually I'll move down there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I get that.
no, I live here in Cookeville.
Okay,
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So did you come from Whitleyville today?
Oh yeah. I was skinning deer until about an hour ago.
Nice.
Daggone. So how many deer? Because I know it probably fluctuates during the week as well. You'll probably get more as the weekend starts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The weekends, especially in Jackson County, that's when we have a lot of out of town hunters.
Oh, yeah.
So the weekends are huge. And then during the week, it's hit and miss. You know, like today we got 8 deer in, which is considering the weather. I was surprised. I didn't think we'd get any. You know,
Yeah, it's been
so hot.
Yeah, it's been
Been
wild.
warm.
But we had 8 today. You know, we might get 100 this weekend.
Yeah,
Or,
golly.
it
Wow.
just depends how it goes. Last year, the first 10 days of muzzleloader, we did 200 deer.
Oh my god,
So it just,
that's a lot of
that's
deer.
a lot of deer.
Needless to say, you've learned how to skin a deer really fast.
Yeah.
210 days.
But the weather was perfect the opening weekend last year. Now this year, like this weekend, this past weekend was so warm.
Yeah, which Saturday's going to be
Nice.
like 25 degrees, so you might get some good business
Oh
there.
yeah, it'll be busy. And everybody didn't get one last week is gunning for them.
Yeah, there's gonna be some big bucks hitting the ground this weekend in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Absolutely.
I think.
We saw 2 real good ones today that were, good. A big 9-pointer and a real nice 8-pointer. So
Yeah,
we've had several good bucks this week, which
it's awesome.
it's good to see. The big 9-pointer I showed you earlier was that guy was aiming at a doe coming towards him, and in his scope he saw the antlers come up behind her, and he's like, "Oh, well, this is nice."
Yeah,
That's convenient.
180 pound 9-pointer, real nice dude.
Golly, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because since muzzleloader has started, we've been like driving around on the property and stuff, and I just keep saying like, man, I just really hate if just a big old buck just walks out right now.
yeah.
Just so I have to turn my truck off and
Yeah.
aim it out the window or something, you know?
Yeah, you got to change up the strategy because, like, I've not killed anything yet this season.
Yeah.
And I've actually not even had a whole lot of success seeing stuff while I'm in the tree. I usually get notifications of the other location.
Yeah.
So,
that's about how it goes.
That's how it works, yeah.
That's how my season's gone so far, pretty much. But got to switch up the strategy because all season I've been going in like, oh, I'm going to get something, I'm going to see something, I'm going to get more intel, yada yada. Yeah. And kind of the last 2 weeks, my dad's been like, you know what? I hope you don't see anything at all in the woods today.
Yeah. Yeah. I have noticed though that my level of preparation has continuously gone down as the season goes.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that helps or
They
makes it
always
worse.
show up when you least expect it. you
Yeah,
know?
I know, man.
We had a stud 8-pointer come in yesterday that the guy bumped it on his way in.
Oh my gosh.
And then he said if he hadn't bumped that deer, he would have never seen it because he was a long way from his stand.
Yeah.
So he went down in the creek and eased down there, and that deer ran off and came around and chased another doe back in front of him, and he killed it right there on his way into the.
What the
And he
heck?
said I would have never seen that deer if I'd made it. He said I was running late, but if I'd made it to my stand, I would have never seen that deer.
Golly.
And it was a dandy 8-pointer.
Lucky dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish I could bump something like that.
Yeah.
But Whitleyville, that's in Jackson County. I'm familiar with it, but you're close to Cordell Hall.
Yeah,
Correct.
Right up from the bridge. We're 5 miles from the bridge in Gainesboro.
Yeah.
So Cordell Hall is right there where you go over.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And Jennings Creek runs right behind my shop. So you can, and that's what dumps in there by the bridge there in Gainesboro.
Man, I saw the largest largemouth bass I've ever seen in my life swimming in Jennings Creek one day.
For real?
Yeah, we were back there fishing, and I was on the front of the boat watching for logs and stumps because there's a bunch of stumps in that creek.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like navigating our way out, and I'm like, my buddy's driving. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw the biggest bass I've ever seen in my life. Dude, she had to be like 15,
Oh, really?
15, 16 pounder.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
There's some huge ones in there. And that creek is so shallow.
It
you know,
is.
and it fluctuates so much. It's hard to fish because of
Yeah.
the water. I love to fish. So the water changes. I mean, I drive past it twice a day, every day.
Yeah.
And in the morning, it'll be up, and then you leave, and you could walk across there. And it's
Wow.
like, man, it went down 4 feet since
Oh
this
yeah,
morning,
these
you know?
guys, our interns, they've been hunting on Cordell with their boat,
Oh,
and I think they went in one morning
Yeah.
and parked, and then came out, and their boat was like beached.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they regulate that water so much
Yeah.
that it amazes me how much it goes up and down.
yeah, yeah,
But that whole creek, even at the widest point, other than the channel right there,
yeah.
it's shallow.
It's like 3 foot,
Yeah.
3 to 4 foot.
And I've seen people like in bass boats ripping across.
Yeah,
it. I'm like,
dude.
oh my
I
god,
know, me too. And I'm
you're
like,
gonna lose the lower unit.
I'm like, you guys have obviously never fished this creek
oh, yeah.
because the channel snakes like real weird.
yeah,
And then literally, like you're saying, everything else is super like shallow. We've
Like,
we've
you
both
could walk
fished in there
across
quite a bit too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Golly.
And
But,
they
yeah.
fly through there, and I'm like,
I know.
and there's stumps and logs
Yeah.
and tires and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Just looking for trouble.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It's bad.
But yeah, the reason I brought that up is you probably get a lot of like you were saying, you get a lot of
Oh yeah.
non-locals because they're probably hunting the public
We
right
get
there.
a lot of public deer right there off.
Yeah.
Cordell Hall. All three. I mean that I don't know what was it a WMA? What are they?
It
call
is Cordell Hall
Yeah.
WMA. Yeah.
It's a big area. It runs from way up north past Big Bottom all the way down past Salt
Past
Lake.
Carthage.
Down to
Yeah.
Carthage. I
Yeah.
think.
Down
So
to Carthage. Yep.
we have some regulars. That's all they hunt, and we see a lot of good deer from there. There's lots of deer in there.
Yeah. There is.
And
There's a bunch of
honestly-
hogs too.
Oh yeah, we get a lot of hogs too.
Yep.
I
Yep.
had one for dinner last night
Nice. That's good.
from Salt Lake.
There you go.
But yeah, there's a lot of deer in there, and we get a lot from there. But I don't think there's as many people hunt it as you would think for as big areas as. A lot of it you have to access by boat,
Yeah.
you know, and so that makes it a little tricky. But
Well, that's good. We'll keep it a
A little secret.
semi-secret. We are doing a podcast
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
but it's yeah.
it's a good public. A lot of people, you know, in this area don't maybe not know how much
Yeah.
good public land there is, and
Oh, yeah.
that's a great spot.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
Yeah.
That's where I've been putting in most of my time this season.
Yeah.
Is out on Cordell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some good.
I've only
spots in
hunted
there.
Cordell once, but I've got some access to private, so that's where I've been putting
Well,
my efforts into.
Don't go right now because you'll.
Yeah, the Orange Army,
Yeah.
man.
It's like a UT football game in
Yeah.
the woods right now.
I got enough holes in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But that's interesting, man. So it's say again how many years you've been doing processing, like guessing
As a
a word,
business?
yeah, as a business.
5 years. This will be my
5
fifth
years.
deer season.
So when you first started, were you just doing it part time or?
Kind of. I had another business at the time, and I started it kind of as a side gig, and just to do deer.
Yeah,
And my brother and I used to own a farm right there, and so we hunted there all the time. I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in Whitleyville because there's nothing down there. There's a ton of people that hunt down that way,
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's no processors in the area. So so that's why I started there. And then like the first person that came in the door asked me about doing beef, and I was like, no, I don't know. And then it just, so now I do deer for deer season. We don't do any beef, hogs, anything during deer season, and then
Okay.
the rest of the year we do beef, hogs, sheep, whatever.
Okay.
General
Cool.
processing. But my heart got me in it from deer season,
yeah,
and I'll always do deer. There's a lot of places don't do deer, they just keep trudging with the beef, which is easy to do. But I just love deer season.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot of work, but I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I love all the stories,
worth
seeing
every-
all the deer. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well, dude, like, I don't know what it is, but I have grown a fascination with processing my own meat.
Oh yeah, you want a job?
I'm a little busy at the moment. But, dude, I honestly, that's one of my favorite parts about it is just like actually breaking the whole deer down and seeing all the different cuts and how the muscle separates from each other. It's so interesting.
And then what you can do with it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I grew up, I like to cook, so
Yeah.
that's kind of what led me to hunting, and yeah, all the different things that can come out of one, even a small deer.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
There's a lot of meat that can come out of a
A
deer.
lot of meat, and you can do so much with it. You know?
I was telling, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was telling Kyle before we started that my first job ever was at a deer processor.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Salting deer hides. I was 13 years old.
What the heck?
It's like it was right down the road from my grandparents' house, and my cousin, he's like 6 years older than me,
Yeah.
and he worked there, and you know, us living at my grandparents' house at the time, like off and on. My parents used to travel for work, so he's like, "Hey, you want to make some money?" Little did I know, I'd be like putting salt all over deer hides, but you know. Hey, I got paid $5 a hide to do it, and
Dang.
and then graduated
Getting
to
good money for this.
yeah, exactly for a 13-year-old man. It was real good. But then I graduated to skinning, and then I started driving, and
Yeah. I got a few kids. I got
the
some high school
teenage
kids.
brain took over. So
I got a few high school kids
Yeah.
now that come in and help us skin. And
yeah,
it's a
that's
good,
cool.
good job for young boys.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, so that was like my introduction to whitetails and like the whole hunting scene and stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't even deer hunt. Like I think I went a couple times with my grandpa when I was a kid, but like I didn't even my first time deer hunting ever. I was 24 years old.
Yeah, I was 32.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first time was last season. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get hooked on it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the processing for me is what it's all about.
yeah.
I really enjoy it. My
Oh,
wife's
Yeah, me
like,
too.
I don't get it. I was like, I just something. And I learned how to process a deer watching YouTube.
Yeah,
literally.
that's-
literally.
yeah,
you
yeah.
That's
know,
exactly what I've done.
reading,
That's what we did last year.
reading books and watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, man.
Dude, it was pretty funny because when we first started last season, we found a dead deer on the side of the road, and I was like, dude, like let's cut this up. Let's see what it's actually about. Terrible idea. It's the worst idea we've ever had. It smelled so bad. And I was like, dude, it's still warm. Like it's good, but it was also like 7 degrees. But dude, that was terrible. But dude, just like doing it once and it being a terrible experience. Like I don't know why, but it was such a fun process of just like fully controlling from start to finish what you eat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
and
obviously we didn't eat that, but I just didn't
Right,
put
yeah.
that out.
Well, that's the other thing. That's why I wanted to start doing it for other people.
Yeah.
Is because there's so many horrible stories about processors and not getting your deer
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And taking in a 140-pound deer and getting 10 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just not how to do it.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
we do
No.
every single deer individually.
Yeah.
And we do, I mean, down to making summer sausage. If you bring me your deer and you want 5 pounds of summer sausage, it's coming out of your deer.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't mix it for anything, you know?
Yeah,
It's like-
there's a lot of people that do
Oh,
mix
it's like
the
probably-
burger and the meat, and then it's like, I don't know how this person
you
handled
get that
their
roadkill
deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how
Right.
this person handled their deer, processed their deer. For me, when I kill a deer, I want to take the guts out immediately. I don't know if
Yeah.
that person left the guts in for hours and hours.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that, in my opinion, makes the meat taste gamey.
For sure it does.
And
100%.
then not, yeah, because I mean, basically when you take the guts out, it allows the cooling process to begin.
immediately. That's where
Yeah.
all the heat is.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
in the guts, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we see. I mean, just the spectrum of deer we see come in.
Yeah,
You know, you'll get one that's been gut shot and just nasty.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, I want to eat that,
Yeah.
yeah,
but that's their deer.
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I'm not going to mix it with your deer that's been properly cared
Exactly,
for. You know,
exactly.
and that happens. And so we were like really intent on getting the most meat off the deer, and it's your deer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just can't imagine mixing deer.
Yeah.
I can see why. If you got 2,000 deer to do,
Yeah.
the biggest one is making sausages.
Yeah.
Like they'll say, well, you want 5 pounds of summer sausage. They mix it all together, and you get 5 pounds, and you get 10 pounds, and you get 5 pounds.
Sure.
And they just mix it all together. And you may not tell in that instance, but it's still, I don't want my deer mixed with.
Yeah, just like it almost comes down to an ethical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
So that's what led me to doing it for other people, because I used to do it for me and my buddies, my brother, whatever. And then I was like, man, there's such a better way to do this commercially. You could do it one-on-one, and we don't charge a fortune. We're right in the wheelhouse for the price, and it doesn't really take any longer once you get it set up to do them one at a time than to do all the
of them at
hamburger
once.
at once or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that would be harder. It's a lot more to keep up with. Well, this guy gets 20 pounds and this guy gets 10, and that's where you wind up with, man, I don't know if I got all my deer.
Yeah, exactly.
You go taking a deer. It's because there's no accounting of how much deer meat came off of your deer.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you brought me a deer that had 50 pounds of meat and you brought me one that had 20, and you both get 30 pounds, it's like, well,
Someone's getting the short end of the stick here. Yeah.
he's like, man, that deer was bigger than I thought. And you're like, what the heck?
How'd that guy get 80 pounds
Yeah.
off that fawn?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
So walk me through the process. So like, let's say I kill a deer, I call you, I'm bringing one to you. Like, what's from beginning to end? What does that process look like?
Well, like you said, you want to get it field dressed. We don't gut them at all. It says on my sign, you don't gut it, we don't cut it.
That's a good saying right there.
I like it.
Like it's got to be field dressed, and we see all level of that. I'd like for everybody to get them completely clean, but if you because it's going to improve your meat quality.
Absolutely.
If it's cooled down. So you get it gutted, bring to me, then we'll check you in, and then we skin it, put it in the cooler, and we like to let them hang in the cooler for a few days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we get really busy, it might be a week, it might be longer, but that meat is going to get better as it ages, like a beef.
Yep.
You don't have
Yep.
to hang it for 3 weeks like a beef. Although I hung one of mine a few, maybe 3 years ago that I'd killed, and then we were slammed, so I just kept, put mine in the back, put mine in the back, put mine.
Yeah.
And we brought it out as black as these curtains.
Yeah.
And I carved it. It was so good. It was
bet, yeah.
6 weeks, but we cut so much off of that. But anyhow,
Yeah.
so we skin it out and then put it in the cooler. And while you're there, we talk about how you want it cut. And we'll custom cut it all the way. So, the same price. So if you want cube steak or you want steak or you want roasts or you want, however you want it cut, we'll cut it the way you want it. And then so it hangs in the cooler till we're ready to cut it. And then I have a great team of meat cutters and packers. And so they bring them out, we run them through and cut them up, pack them, and then you get it back vacuum sealed in a box, most of the time frozen unless you come right as soon as it's ready. It may not be frozen yet. And then, it's a pretty simple process.
Yeah.
It's time consuming, but we got it down to where we can hammer out.
Yeah, you got your processes down.
Yeah, I was going to ask how long it takes from like the time you pull it out of the freezer to just do like I'm sure you have like a
cut.
basic cut.
Like, it does depend on the size of the deer, but an average deer, like 20 minutes maybe.
20 minutes?
That's
Yeah,
good.
That's
Out of the cooler.
Yeah,
that's
great.
fine.
Yeah,
Broke
that's
down,
great.
packed up, and put back in.
Yeah.
Put back in the freezer. So but we have, well, I don't know how big my kitchen is. I call it a kitchen because I really think it's like a restaurant.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like spotless. I don't know. Did you come inside?
Yeah, no, I saw
so
it.
like,
It looks so good in there,
we
dude.
clean it, and it's like spotless all the time. And because it's food at the end of the day, But we have a whole system, so it comes in on a rail, goes right on the table. So as one guy's breaking it down, the next guy's trimming it. This person's trimming, and this person's packing. So it's like like an assembly line. So it doesn't take long. We did, and it depends what you're getting done. Like
Sure.
I think we cut 14 today in like 5 hours. So 6 hours.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's great.
You move through them pretty fast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
And,
really
and then
cool.
you get one like the last one. My team was ready to kill me. I'm like, let's get one more. Come on, we'll get one more.
Yeah.
Like every boss does. But it was like all grind. I'm like, oh, this is easy.
yeah.
Just in like 10 minutes, we had that thing, in the grinder ready to go. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome.
Do you guys do like summer sausage,
Yeah.
sticks, like jerky.
I brought you some sticks today.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we make summer sausage, jerky, snack sticks, breakfast
Nice.
sausage. We can do all kinds of custom sausages. Like people sometimes they'll want Italian sausage or
Yeah.
chorizo or whatever, and we try to do all those.
That's
you know?
awesome.
And
Cool.
any of that stuff is just by the pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want 5 pounds of, bratwurst, you pay $8 a pound, and we'll make you 5 pounds of bratwurst.
Yeah.
Cool.
And most of those seasonings we mix in house. I don't like to buy
The prepackaged.
Some of them you almost have to, but like summer sausage and snack sticks, we buy that by the 20 pounds, 30 pounds at a time,
Yeah.
just because we would be mixing seasonings all the time.
all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
But I don't like anything with MSG in it. I don't like,
Yeah.
it's got to be just
Yeah.
natural stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, no, I
it
get
tastes
that.
better.
Well, that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons we hunt is for
Yeah.
natural, clean, like lean,
Right.
Yeah.
lean meat.
Lean meat, so you don't
yeah.
want to put a bunch of crap in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And a lot of that, sausages, any smoked sausages, there's so many. It's got MSG and lots of
Yeah.
nitrates and all that kind of stuff, and we try to mitigate or not do that very much.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
guys use like a high heat cheese when you're making sausages?
Yeah,
or?
we put those in the summer sausage and sticks, like
Okay.
a high temp cheddar or pepper jack.
Okay, cool.
They turn out good. Those are pepper jack sticks I brought today.
Sweet.
Heck yeah.
So-
Can't wait to dig into that.
I know, for real. Yeah.
They're pretty good. That's a big seller. People love those things. I
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
I don't know if it's because I eat too many of them or whatever, but after a while, I'm
You
like,
get tired of them.
I don't
Yeah.
even want to see another snack stick.
I know. It's like my kids, like I hunt and for the meat, obviously, but also for my children.
Right.
Like I got 3 kids, 9, 6, and 4, and they absolutely love deer jerky.
Oh, yeah.
So like always the first deer I kill, I get
All
basically pretty much the whole thing cut up into jerky.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then I make my own jerky at home. I got a pretty nice dehydrator, so I just marinate.
We do
it.
tons of that too,
Yeah.
where people like to do that. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, if someone brings me a deer and they just want to make their own jerky, we'll slice it off,
Slice
for them,
it up,
so
yep.
it's ready to go, and they just make jerky when they get home.
Yeah,
and
That's
we
cool.
do more of that than actually making jerky, to be honest.
yeah.
Because
Wow.
the jerky's fun to make at home.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, it's like
It
a
is.
You
little
can do
process.
it in your oven.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have a dehydrator.
Well,
I used
but
to
you
make
can
it in my
do-
oven. Yeah,
Yeah, you can do different
Yeah.
style. You can do like teriyaki. You can do pepper, whatever.
Super Nashville
hot
hot chicken or
sweet
something,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's easy to do, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fun to do, and you can do it with what you have. Like I said,
Yeah.
I used to make it at
Right.
home in my oven all the time, or you can do
Yeah.
it on if you got a pellet grill, anything like
Yeah,
that. You can,
yeah.
it's real easy to do. So
So when you guys make jerky, are you doing it with a dehydrator or using a
we use-
smoker?
no, we use a dehydrator.
Okay,
We have a
cool.
great big smoker, but it's usually doing sticks and something.
Sausage, yeah.
How long does it usually take for that smoker to run a full cycle? For like if you load that whole thing up with sticks,
It's hard. It's
kind of different every
yeah,
time.
because of the moisture and everything. Like
Yeah.
I did some sticks yesterday. Literally, are in there like 13 hours. I was like, what is going on with these things?
Yeah.
But if you put like 10 pounds in there, or you put 60 pounds, it's a big smoker. You can put a lot of sticks in there. It's as big as that refrigerator, So
Golly,
it may take all day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it depends on the moisture content and the weather outside. There's so
Yeah.
many variables,
Yeah.
but typically, like, I would say between 8 and 12 hours for sticks or summer sausage.
okay, cool.
We
Yeah, I
cook them.
tried-
We cook them to a temperature. They
Yeah.
need to be 152 degrees and
A certain
whatever.
moisture
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that. It's just the temperature.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the moisture in it is what regulates how fast it's going to cook.
Yeah.
Because you're
Okay,
cooking it
cool.
at such a low temp.
Right.
You're basically just evaporating all the moisture in it.
Right.
So it just takes, if there's more meat in there, there's more moisture and it just
Right.
takes
Yeah,
longer.
it's just gonna
And it
take
can take
longer.
longer. And
Yeah.
and then if there's more meat in the smoker, the temperature of the smoker
It's
takes
gonna-
long.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a whole process.
I wish I could figure it out to like
To a T,
jerky's
yeah.
like we put in jerky. It's 11 hours. It's going to be done.
Yeah.
But the smoker's not that way.
No.
Yeah.
Last night I was there
wild.
till like 8:30 waiting on those sticks to get done. I was like, oh my god.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, because I tried making sticks last year, and I was like, man, this was quick. And I looked down, and I was like, I've only been cooking this for like an hour and 30 minutes, and it's already done. Took a bite, worst taste of my entire life. I was like, I just threw away like 6 pounds of meat right there.
Yeah.
It's like, this sucks.
Was it just dry or?
It was super dry. I tried mixing my own seasoning in it, and usually when I like every time I make something, I just do something random and I'll write the notes and see if it tastes good. And if it does, then I'll do it again. But that just didn't work at all. I mean, it's the only way I know how to put it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible.
It was so bad.
Like my dad was excited because he's like, oh, he killed a deer. He's gonna bring it back. We're gonna smoke it. It's gonna be great. And then we pull it off, and he looks at it. And he's like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah. I made some jerky this year that was not very good either.
Yeah.
Ended up being way too salty.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
You know? And jerky's one of those things that we'll make them, and I made my own recipe. We've been using the same recipe since forever.
Yeah.
But batch to batch, I'd be like, oh, that's a crappy batch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the same.
Same
Everything's the
thing,
same.
yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't know if some animals don't absorb it as much, or we marinate. We're like, okay, it goes into marinade. It's going to be in the cooler for 2 days before we dehydrate it,
Yeah.
whatever. And you get one batch, you're like, this tastes terrible. And then the next batch, like, that's the best jerky I ever had. And we did the same exact
Yeah,
thing.
same thing. Yep.
Interesting.
So I don't.
Yep.
I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, same experience.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, I made some jerky
don't.
last year. You know that like smoke flavor concentrate you can buy?
Liquid smoke.
Yeah, liquid smoke.
Yep.
Yeah, I bought a thing of that, put way too much of that in it.
Yeah, I never used that.
Yeah. It literally said like 1 drop. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll try like 5 drops. See
Yeah,
if that makes a big
one
difference.
drop.
1 drop is literally all you
Yeah,
need.
exactly.
Yeah. I
I
did not
don't- I
realize
don't
how
use that
concentrated
either.
it was.
That's one of those things I don't care for, so I don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
put it in there.
Yeah. Well, lesson learned.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again. Honestly, I think I'm probably just going to start handing stuff to you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having any luck right now.
Yeah, no joke.
Well,
Yeah.
it's trial and error. Like
Yeah, no, it is.
my jerky recipe, I've been tinkering it with it forever. I've locked it in probably 6-7 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's always something you can play around with. And I try other
Mm-hmm.
recipes. My daughter, she's 15. She would eat a room full of jerky.
Yeah.
You put it in front of her. So we try all kinds of. Last year she wanted a pineapple jalapeno something, and we tried it, and it sounded great on paper.
Yeah.
It smelled great when we made
Yeah.
it.
Not
Just
very
tastes
good.
It didn't taste
Yeah.
bad. It just didn't carry
didn't
over.
line up, yeah.
No, it's like, well,
Interesting.
it tastes like salty meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but our regular jerky and our hot and spicy jerky is pretty dialed in. It's good.
That's cool,
Get
man.
a deer and we'll hook you up.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
The so something else I was curious about, because when I went over there and we were weighing Terry's buck, you were able to like spot on know its age just based off of its weight.
Yeah, and that's like just seeing so many deer. Like I'm pretty
Right.
good at guessing weights, and then there's like the age of deer. There's like certain weight classes that are gonna. I mean, it's not 100%, but if it's a 120-pound buck, it's probably a 2 to 3 year old deer.
Yeah.
A 180-pounder is not 2 years old. It's 4
Yeah.
or 5 years
Yeah.
old. If it's 80 pounds, it's probably a yearling.
Yep.
And I mean, we see some 8-pointers, come in a deer like this, 80 pounds. I'm like, that's last year's fawn. No, that's 2-3 years old. I'm like, I guarantee it, 80 pounds. If you check the teeth,
Yeah.
that's a yearling.
Yeah.
And it just antler growth has nothing to do with the age.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
the weight is a lot, and some of that's from honestly the TWRA. They come down, like they'll probably be here Saturday, and they come down once or twice a year and do a check-in where they're pulling CWD samples and hair samples
Okay.
and stuff. So they've taught me a ton about aging deer and
Yeah.
looking at them and stuff, and it's pretty interesting. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. So you work like pretty much hand in hand with TWRA.
Oh yeah, I'm way into helping them out. We
Oh,
pull
that's
we pull
awesome, dude.
samples on almost every buck for CWD.
Oh, that's good,
For
dude.
them, and they're welcome to come down there anytime. They do clinics there and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
What about so with that being said, has there been any CWD positive deer?
No, none in
Thank
this
God.
part of the state. The
good.
western Tennessee is where it's at in Tennessee, and most of that came up from Mississippi, is what they think. But eventually, it will probably get here. But it's it's so far away, and if people practice safe handling, if you don't transport deer parts state to across
state.
Where
or county to
CWD
county,
is to
most of that spread is from people. It's not
Sure.
really from deer.
Yeah.
And so that's a crazy thing. We've all read about it, but it'll live in the soil forever.
yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
And so if a deer, if it's in an area and a deer gets it, it's not going anywhere. You can't you can't even incinerate that stuff. Like 4,000 degrees and the prions still live
there. Yeah.
Wow.
How do you feel about consuming CWD positive meat?
I don't think there's any studies on it yet.
Yeah.
I would think if it was me personally and I got a deer tested and it came back positive, I don't think I would eat it. I don't think it would hurt you, but why
risk it?
Yeah, why risk
It's
it
like,
at all?
this cow has mad cow disease. Go ahead.
No thanks.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the same thing. It's
Basically.
but yeah, I've heard that conversation get
But
brought up
there's
quite a bit.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
huge conversation. But I guess there's places in Colorado, Wisconsin, where CWD is really prevalent.
Yeah.
That people have been eating it for decades.
Especially in like elk herds out in Colorado and stuff.
so there's no official study, but there's been people been eating that stuff forever, and it's never been transferred to humans. But I don't want to
that's
be
what
the
I was
first.
going to say.
I don't know if I want to be the guy that has to
breaks
break
the
the
mold.
news. Yeah.
I don't want to be subject zero.
Yeah. So I don't think I would eat, but there has not been any positive test east of, right along the Mississippi River, the Mississippi border, like around
Golly.
Memphis.
That sounds like the next zombie apocalypse
Yeah.
movie, right?
Yeah. When you start like reading into it, it really does sound pretty wild, man.
That's what it does. It kills their brain, and they just
They're
wander
brain
around
dead,
until they fall over.
Yeah. Luckily, they're not eating each other, but
Is CWD the one that makes them walk around in circles, or is that EHD?
Well, I think both of them have similar.
Yeah.
Here, there is EHD and blue tongue.
Which they're different, correct?
They're different.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think most of what we see around here is EHD.
EHD.
And I can't remember the.
Epihod. I can't remember how to say it either.
not even gonna try.
I've it's like on the tip of my tongue.
Hemorrhagic.
Yeah, something.
Disease.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we see that's fairly common in this area, but it's not dangerous to people, and actually a lot of deer survive it.
Okay.
But that's carried by a gnat.
Yeah.
So it usually seen in the late summer because water levels get low, and the gnats go to the water, and then all the deer
Stagnant,
concentrate
and then,
into that one water source, and that's what generally.
That reminds me of bot flies, nasal bots. I
found
bet you
one
see
yesterday.
a lot of those, don't you?
Yeah, we found one yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
You ever seen one of those come
No.
out of a deer's nest?
It's
It's pretty wild. Hunter from the Element killed a deer in Tennessee. That velvet deer.
Yeah.
And while they were gutting it, a big old bot fly crawled out of its nose, and it's
larva,
wild.
was it the
Yeah,
larva?
the larva.
They're like a maggot that's this big.
Yeah, dude, they're like,
Yeah.
it's wild, like a big grub. Looks like a big grub.
That's what it looks like.
That's exactly what it looks
What
like.
the heck?
And they live they get in the sinus cavity. It's a fly,
Yeah.
and they lay their eggs in there.
Yep.
And then when they get hatched, whatever,
Yeah.
the fly just flies out and goes about its thing, but they live up in the sinus cavity.
It's wild. Watch
What
it.
the heck? Dude, I'm over here itching my nose.
Yes, it's crazy that a deer can live
They're
with
so
that,
tough.
with those huge larvae in their nasal cavities.
That's got to be so bothersome.
Yeah,
you know?
I killed one. It's been forever ago. It might have been the first season I was hunting, and I used to hang them in my barn.
Yeah.
So I got home and I hung it up, and I went in the house, did everything. I was going to come out and skin it and everything later, and I come back out and there were like 8 of those on the ground.
Oh,
I
my
flipped
goodness.
out. I was
8
like,
of
what
them.
is that? They
Yeah.
just fell out of that deer,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
was like, man, can you imagine walking around like that?
What's
Yeah.
the wildest like thing you've seen doing this so far? Like a deer that you've brought in.
And nothing. We don't see a whole lot of real wild stuff. We've seen some big ones. We had a 196-pound deer Sunday, dressed,
Golly.
field dressed,
Whoa.
from Macon County.
That's
Giant.
gigantic.
Was it a doe or buck?
No, buck. It was a nice 8-pointer, and it was a nice. I mean, it wasn't a giant 8. It was a nice
Yeah.
rack, but just a huge deer.
Huge
198
body.
pounds. Yeah, we see a lot of. We found a few like bullets in deer that weren't from the gun that killed it.
Yeah.
That they've been shot.
Right.
prior
Broadheads and
to-
stuff
yeah,
too.
Occasional
Yeah.
broadhead. Today we found one, and I think it was from the guy that killed it, but it had like the tail end of a crossbow bolt through its spinal column.
Huh.
Wow.
But he had shot it in the ribs. So I'm pretty sure he must have shot it twice, but it was like we didn't know about it until we pulled the meat apart, and there it was,
Golly.
like a 4-inch section. Right.
You got to
through
be
the
careful
spine.
with that. You can end
Yeah,
up
well, that
cutting
was
yourself and
fortunately
stuff,
was
right?
knock end. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we found broadheads in deer.
Yeah.
And, we have a whole jar of bullets that, when you find the lead, we put it in that jar.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, just for keepsakes.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
had this kid last Sunday. He brought his first deer he ever killed, or first buck he killed. It was a nice little 8-pointer, and killed his mother. He was so pumped up. So I'm skinning it for him because they were taking it. He was going to get it mounted, so he was waiting for the cape. So I'm caping it out, and the muzzleloader round fell on the ground. So I picked it up and I said, "Hey man, this is your bullet that killed your deer. You want it?" You would have thought I'd give him $100 bill. He was
He's tickled, wasn't he? Yeah.
I'm like, I bet he likes that better than the deer.
Man, that's and growing up, like working at a process, that's like one of the coolest things is like just the stories and the,
that's
like,
what I love.
like the tailgate talk,
Yeah.
so to speak,
Yeah.
of like being, like back in the day, you used to always have to take your deer to a check-in station.
Yeah, I
and,
love that.
and everybody would come like, midday and be like, check out everyone's bucks and stuff. And
We do that like
Yeah.
every Saturday. I've got like a pot of chili going. We got a big screen with the football game on.
Awesome,
Everybody just
man.
come hang out, see the deer, come in, listen to the
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah. That's
cool.
I just love that whole atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere
It's
is,
so cool.
yeah.
Heck, I might come even if I don't kill
Yeah,
a deer.
come on down.
Just watch the football game
like a
and
good
eat just a
time.
deer up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
we,
like a good Saturday to
We do
me.
it every Saturday. I've tried to, we'll have deer chili or we might have tacos or something that just come hang out. We got
Yeah.
a cooler full of drinks and just
Yeah,
it's
the,
fun.
the camaraderie, man, around
Yeah.
like a deer camp or even
Yeah.
like a all that stuff is.
And
That's
then,
why-
someone gets their biggest deer ever. So
Yeah.
then they want to share that story
Yeah.
with everybody. So
Yeah.
they hang out and tell everybody to listen
Yeah.
about how they killed this deer. And it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of
That's
like
fun.
deer camp all
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So do you think with you being a business owner, and I mean, obviously this takes a lot of time, especially on the weekends, like that's something you have to spend a lot of time on is like keeping people's morale up?
Like my employees, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, some they're there because they like to do it, and then
Okay.
I've kind of taken the approach that everybody has a dedicated job. So if you're a meat cutter, I'm not going to ask you to skin deer unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Your job is to cut meat.
Yeah.
So we have meat cutters, we have packers. I've got a cleaning crew, so they come in and clean. So we've got deer skinners. So we try to mitigate some of that so that you're there to do your job.
Yeah.
And unless we're really and every one of my employees would do whatever I asked them to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
But when you're done cutting meat, the last thing you want to do is go skin deer. So
Yeah.
I try not to do that.
Yeah.
And it just makes a cool place to work. I've only
Yeah.
got 5 employees. Well, 5 full-time employees and a
Yeah.
handful of part-time employees. But
That's still,
cool,
man,
man.
that's great.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And it's in Jackson County, and which there's not a lot of opportunities there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. You've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I mean, Jackson County's Whitleyville is in the middle of nowhere. Jackson County, which is the main
Yeah.
city there's Gainesboro, but
Yeah.
they're Gainesboro's coming up
Oh,
in
it's
the
a great
world,
city.
man.
There's
It's
a lot going on there.
yeah,
And
a lot of new restaurants, a
yeah.
lot of
Bull
new
and
businesses
Thistle's
opening.
there.
awesome. Stone Coin and Bull and Thistle.
Yeah,
12 degrees. There's
Yeah.
some great stuff in Gainesboro. And we're only 5 miles from there. It seems like
Yeah.
we're way out there.
Yeah, it's not
but
far
it's
from
not.
there
And
at
it's
all.
only, it's 41 miles from my house. So it's really not far from Cookeville.
sure.
And so many people hunt out there, that so you don't have to drive an hour to the
Processor to drop
Yeah.
your deer off.
to drop your
and-
deer off. You're right there where the hunting
Yeah,
is.
Yeah,
you
and a
just
lot of-
drop them off on your way out. And
Yeah.
then when you come back,
Yeah.
your way out again, you just pick it up.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say a lot of people are camping in some of the campgrounds around
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're hunting like
Yeah.
for a week or something.
Yeah.
They kill a deer, you're right there close.
Yep. And drop it off and then
Yeah.
pick it up when they're leaving or
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
come back. We get a lot that'll come hunt a weekend in archery and then come for muzzleloader and pick up their deer from archery.
Yeah.
Or to hunt muzzleloader and come back for the rifle, and so we try to accommodate that.
That's cool, man.
I'm not going to say we have tons of freezer space, but we've got plenty to
Sure.
hold a deer for a week or two if we have to. And a lot of our hunters are from East Tennessee, Knoxville,
Yeah.
Yeah.
over that way.
Yep.
So
Which,
it's-
us being close as well, we're only probably 35 miles or so from Cordell here.
yeah.
Yeah.
We get a lot of those people that stop in as well because,
imagine.
the saddle hunting game is it's really popular amongst public land hunters. So
Oh, that's so easy to cart in there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we get you're right. It's crazy how many people from East Tennessee come over and hunt, like,
Right.
you know, around our lakes or
Yeah.
even Cordell Hull or like, yeah.
And I think part of that is because there's less people here.
Yeah.
Like if you go
Yeah.
hunt, I'm sure there's plenty of great hunting in Knoxville, but it's either locked
Well,
up in
not
leases,
really.
or you know, it's just
Yeah.
there's so many people.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
that you got to spread out a little bit. And Jackson County is just beautiful. I love it there.
Oh, well, I do too, man.
There's a ton of great hunting,
Yeah.
both public and private, and you'd
Yeah.
still get a nice lease down there if you're looking for a lease.
Yeah.
Lots of leases. You're not lots available, but there's lots of leasable land.
Yeah.
You know?
If you do some door knocking,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
you
can
can
make it
have
happen.
tons of permission on
yeah.
unleased stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
No, I love turkey hunting down there.
lots of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of birds down there, but it's, man, they're just nothing like a big gobble echoing in those valleys and stuff. It's awesome. Or even being on the water and
Yeah.
just like striking a bird up from the boat and then being like, oh,
Yeah,
let's go get that one. you
and
know?
you're like, but which way did it come from?
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause,
echoing all
yeah,
over.
yeah,
Yeah, that drive up through Whitleyville from like my shop to Red Bowling Springs, in
Yeah.
that valley, it's just so pretty.
Yeah.
It's the best.
my uncle, he's got 100 and some odd acres. I don't know, right there at War Trace.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we
So
get a lot of deer from over there too.
and there are a lot of deer
Yeah,
up in that area.
they need to change Jackson County to Unit L.
They do
There's
because
so
there's
many
so many deer.
And you know, you go to Macon County,
Yeah,
which is like 10 miles from my shop, and that's
Yeah.
a Unit L county.
yeah.
My farm,
You know-
I used to own a farm there, and the county line went right through my farm. So,
So
I always
half of your
hunted in
farm
Macon
was
County.
L. But
Always in Macon County.
the yeah, that area, it's just so like hilly.
Yeah,
Like it's very steep.
vertical. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's why like there's a lot of deer there because nobody wants to climb those hills.
Yeah,
You know what
nobody
I mean?
wants
So
to deal with that.
It's very conducive to a large deer population.
Yeah.
and every time you shoot a deer in Jackson County, it's going to the bottom.
Yeah.
of that big hill.
Yeah, you better have a way out from the
Yeah.
bottom or you're dragging one
Yeah.
straight up.
I mean, I just got a permission property from Terry there, and literally he told me, he's like, I hunted this once and I had to pick up the doe from the bottom. He's like, I gutted her there, cleaned her there,
Yeah.
processed it there, and walked back up. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm never hunting here again. He's like, have at it.
Yeah. That happened to me one time. I own this farm, and it was a great piece of property. Well, I shot during bow season, shot a nice buck, like a 7-point, nothing giant. Perfect heart shot, and it went over to the side of the hill.
Oh,
And it
man.
slid down, and it wedged up against a tree.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no cell phone service out there. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'll get it. So I climbed down. I couldn't move it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
straight up and down.
Straight up and down. Yep.
So I did the same thing. I skinned it, quartered it, carried it up in pieces. And then the next year I bought the bottom of that hill.
Just so you can drop them.
Bulldoze the road in there.
my buddy's like, you're the only person I know that would buy a farm so you don't have to drag a deer up the hill.
Yeah. That's funny.
Hey, that's a great solution right there, if you ask me.
I was like, now I can get down there. So go ahead and run down there again.
My cousin had bought, she and her husband had bought 88 acres off 70 toward like Chestnut Mound.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like straight
Steep
up and down. And I shot a doe and unfortunately I spined her and she fell to the creek bottom. And I got down maybe like 10 minutes later and I was like, I don't think she's dead. I watched her roll to the bottom. And so I get down there and there's a buck, a pretty good 8-pointer, just over, trying to nudge her, trying to breed her and stuff. And so I ended up shooting him at the bottom as well. And I'm like, and then we get to processing and like, gutting it and stuff. And I'm like, why did I do this? But needless to say, I called my buddy and he and I don't know why we didn't cut it up, but we drugged those two deer up. Like, I mean, straight, the area. It's like straight
It'll
up and
kill
down.
you.
It took us 4.5 hours to
believe
get
it.
both deer out.
I believe it.
And we were dead
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, that one I killed, it was Halloween, and it was like 75 degrees. I was dying. I'm like, this is meat's not going to be good. But I was so mad. I got it up there, and then like I called and texted everybody I knew.
Yeah.
Of course, nobody answered the phone.
Yeah, of course
So
not.
I'm like bringing the last piece up, and here comes my buddy. Hey, man, need help? I'm like, oh,
Not anymore.
no, we got it. Thanks.
No, but
That's wild,
It
man.
is steep out there.
yeah, when we were dragging those deer up, man, anytime we would like, if we let go of the deer, we would just like lose ground. That's how steep it was.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would just slide right back down. It was
But-
it was wild.
Like you said, I think that it's great habitat for deer. They're very protected. So
Yeah.
there's lots of good deer out there. And
Yeah,
lots of them.
Yeah, because no one wants to, like I said, nobody wants to hunt those steep ridges and stuff, and especially not drag one out or pack one out.
Oh,
But
no.
I mean, that's why there's some good age class bucks
yeah.
back there,
We
like
see
some
a
big
lot of good
deer.
ones.
Yeah.
We see a lot of good ones.
Yep.
What was the biggest deer you said you guys have had in there?
That one the other day, weight-wise, 198 pounds.
Gosh.
We had last year, like opening day of muzzleloader, we had one point, we have a rail in our shop, so everything goes on the rail as soon as it comes
Yeah.
in. We had like 14 deer hanging on that rail that every one of them you put on your wall, like just giant after
Giant,
giant
yeah.
after giant. And we had like, they were there, TWA was there measuring them. We had like 146-inch 8-pointer, 50-inch 12, it's like a mainframe 8 with a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff on it.
Bunch
and,
of junk on it.
a bunch of nice deer. Like we had a mainframe 12 come in last year from Clay County. It
Golly.
wasn't real big, but it was a nice deer.
It's definitely a wall mount for sure.
Oh yeah. It wasn't like a huge rack, but it was I'd put it on the wall.
Yeah.
But that,
Shoot, at this point, I'll put a fork on the wall. I'll put a spike on the wall, man. I just want
At
something.
this point, I'm about to mount a doe.
You could do one of those Sasquatch mounts.
Yeah, there we go.
Honestly, I'm
Have
about
you
at
seen
that
those,
point.
Kyle?
No.
Yeah, you've never seen the
All right,
Sasquatch?
I'll show you.
So people are, which you, I might have you do one of these for me, but
it will.
people are taking
the
deer
tail.
butts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
making Sasquatch mounts.
I have seen
So
that.
funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I need one of those for the shop.
Yeah, you
We've
do.
got a bunch of mounts in the shop. And we got a bunch of Euro mounts, and we do Euro mounts down there, but that'd be great to put on the wall down there.
Yeah.
Sasquatch. I could get a deer butt any day of the week.
Yeah, every day of the week.
We'll wait for a really good one.
Oh, this one's my favorite.
The Cyclops.
Yeah, dude.
The
It's
one
so
eyed.
good. That's my profile picture on Onyx.
Oh man,
It's funny.
the one-eyed
Oh,
Sasquatch.
man, I cracked up when I first saw those.
Those are great. Yeah,
Dude,
you
we-
need one right there.
Yeah, I know. We were talking
Yeah,
about getting one. Just the time people have to create stuff like this,
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Yeah. We do. These look like, are these found heads?
yeah, these are all deadheads off
Yeah.
the same property,
Oh,
and they
wow.
were all found like pretty close to each other.
Huh. We
I
do
don't
a
know.
lot of Euro mounts.
Yeah,
My biggest deer I have is a deadhead I found
yeah,
at my farm. It's dandy. Like
Yeah.
I found it just like this in the creek. I
yeah.
hosed it off, put it on the wall. I mean, it's a big one.
So when you do a Euro, do you like put it in the ground and everything else, or do you boil it all off?
Beetles?
Boil them and pressure wash them.
Okay.
I've got two guys though locally that we get a lot that want Euros done, so we kind of farm some of that out. I got one
Okay.
guy that does beetles up here.
Yeah.
He's in Hillham, and then a guy there in Jackson County. He does them chemically, and
Makes it all pearly white.
oh, they're so white. They turn
Yeah.
out awesome. He's really a talent. But so we farm some of those out because if we just get a few, I'll do them myself.
Yeah.
But it's time.
But
you know.
after a
Yeah.
season, it just
When
takes
there's, like,
forever.
Yeah.
50 of them, I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll send them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time consuming.
It is. They take,
Yeah.
especially if you boil them.
Yeah.
I only got one boiler, so I can fit 2 or 3 skulls in there at a time. If you got
Yeah.
50 to do,
Yeah.
the guy with the beetles, he can turn like 12 heads every 24 hours or something.
Golly.
Yeah, those beetles are crazy.
Yeah.
They'll just like. I'd like to have a
I'd-
time
so
lapse
they literally-
video.
Oh, you
So they-
look it up. There's one
Yeah.
out there.
So they literally just like put it in a tub full of beetles.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're called Demosted beetles,
Okay.
and they eat everything. There won't be anything left on there. I had some on
No
my basement.
cartilage, no nothing.
Golly.
It just
Really, all you have
cleans
to
the
do.
bone.
I really think you could leave the hair even, but usually they skin them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd eat the hair or not, but you put it in there and it's like I bought a colony years ago and I had it in my basement and I did 4 or 5 skulls down there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to watch.
yeah, it's wild.
I know that if it's this, they'll start like right here and just, and
Just go from one
yeah,
side
you can
to
just
the other.
watch it go.
I was gonna say I want to get a time lapse video of them doing it because it'll be like
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
clean to the back
There's a
of the
guy
skull.
that has some on. You can find him on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And he did a time lapse, and he's got like a colony of like 10 million beetles.
It's
And
wild.
He put
Holy cow!
he put the deer in there, and it was like the full time was like 26 hours or something. But the video's, whatever, 2 minutes, and you can just watch them, and it'd be like one or two beetles, and then all of a sudden it's like, and it's just
Piranhas.
it's so cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's a guy here in Hillham that does them.
Yeah.
He's got a nice setup. I don't know how many. I think he's got 4 or 5 million beetles, and he's got a nice
Golly.
setup. Yeah, they're
How big are
tiny.
they?
They're like the size of a ladybug, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
They're not
Yeah.
real big.
So they're small.
Yeah, and they just you can start with 1,000, and in
They
a few years
reproduce,
have
yeah,
a
like-
huge colony. Like I bought 1,000 of them from a guy in Alaska, and they just ship them to you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I want to say it was like, I don't know, $80 or something.
Yeah.
And you just put them in a thing. And I had it in my basement for a while, and I kept extra bones and stuff in my freezer, and I'd just keep.
Well, yeah, you got to keep. You got to
after
feed
season,
them,
You got to
right?
keep
Yeah.
feeding. That's why they clean them.
Yeah.
And then, but I got some. They're like susceptible to mites. I got some mites in there to kill them all.
Bummer.
But yeah, there's a guy here that we farm most of our euros out to him, and the
cool.
other guy. So
Do you just like do the head, or do you put them on a wood plaque for people?
no, just
or
the head.
Okay.
I like those skull hooker hangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why like our shop. We probably have, I don't know, 12 or 15 euros hanging around there.
Yeah.
And those things are cool because number one, you can just take the skull down and look at it, put it back up, or you can swap them out. You get one,
Yeah.
bigger one or a different one. You can swap them out. Real
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
So we get a lot of skulls like these that people don't want. They bring in a spike like that, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I don't want it." So I hate to throw them out. So I've got
Yeah.
tons of euros like
Probably
that.
do. Yeah.
I cut the antlers off. I got a whole bucket full of little antlers.
You got any? You got any like this? I can use as some rattling
Yeah,
antlers.
got a couple of them.
I need some.
I
I need
got a
some
really
rattling
nice
horns.
set that this guy, he's like, "No, I don't want those." It was a nice 7-pointer, like bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's like, "No, I don't want." So they're in my office.
That's a perk. That's a perk of working out of
They're
town.
good for
Yeah,
rattling.
that's awesome, man.
And they're great for dog treats. My dogs
Oh,
love
yeah.
those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a guy here in Cookeville that turns these and makes pens out of them.
What's his name?
I can't think of it to save my life, but they're really cool.
Is
I'm
he an
gonna have
older
him do
guy?
some- No, he's a young guy.
Okay.
I'm going to try to have him do some
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. We'll need to do that.
I've got a lathe at my house, and I took a class off a guy that's like really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
There's
pretty
that guy
fun.
here in town that's like world famous, Brad Sells. He
Yeah.
turns wood bowls and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I know who you're talking about.
He's
yeah.
over there on right off Washington. Right?
Yeah, they actually do a at the Cookeville High School every like third Thursday or Saturday or something. They do like a meetup for wood turners,
Oh, cool.
and I've been there a couple times.
I bet.
Yeah,
I
it's
bet
pretty
one
cool.
of those guys could turn a pen for you.
Oh, yeah, no
They're
doubt.
neat.
Yeah, that'd be
They're
cool.
really cool looking.
Yep, yep.
Be perfect for the industry we work in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And these little, smaller ones like this are great for pens. You couldn't like do a knife out of a small one, so
Yeah,
I just hate to see them go to waste. I'm like,
Yeah.
my freezer, I got like one whole, they call it my door. Like I
Yeah.
have one whole door, I got a 5-door freezer, and it's just full of crap that I don't want to throw away. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, put it over there.
you sound
I
like
don't know if
me.
I'll ever do it. There's like pig livers in there and
Yeah.
goose livers and
Yeah.
beaver quarters and all kinds of stuff.
That's crazy. You guys get
awesome.
beavers in?
No, I trapped a bunch of them last
Oh,
year.
okay.
And, so there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, that's cool. Uh-huh.
That's cool, dude.
But I just love the whole thing about processing.
Yeah.
It's bad though, because like being a pack rat and keeping meat.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, I get it.
There's nothing. I'm never going to do anything with 500 pounds of beef lard.
You, you should see my desk. It's
Yeah.
a mess. I'm a
Oh,
pack rat
It's like
too.
mine, I'm sure.
Yeah. And my garage is terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My wife's like, "What are you gonna do with all this stuff?" I'm like, "Don't
Um,
throw it away. I may need that."
Mine-
Yeah. Well, and the
Classic.
thing is they always say you don't need it. And 2 years from now, there's a specific moment
Yep.
where it was really necessary to keep it.
You're
Yeah,
like, hey,
exactly.
where's
Yeah.
that half a 6-foot ladder I put in the shop?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where's that one bolt I took out of this thing?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I know
That's
exactly what you're talking
That's
about.
just part of having a garage.
It's part of being a guy.
Yeah. You gotta look at the back seat of my truck.
It's a rite of passage right there.
There's
You should see the front seat of my truck.
like half a Bass Pro Shop in my shop.
Yeah, mine
yeah.
too, man. It's ridiculous.
Man, that's funny, dude. So like one of the questions I've had, because we were talking about this earlier, just like you go to a processor and you know, you bring in 120 pound deer and you know, you only get like 20-30 pounds back. As far as like per, like if you could say that there's a weight class per year, like 80 pounds, 120 pounds, 150, whatever it is, what do you think the average like amount of meat you should be getting back?
Well, there's a definite percentage, and I could break it down. The thing about hunted meat or hunted deer or hogs or whatever you're hunting is there's going to be a portion of waste that you don't want to eat. So if you shoot a deer,
some bloodshot meat or something,
and you're gonna you lose some of that. So if you bring a deer in that's been shot through both shoulders with a 300 Win Mag,
Yeah.
you're going to
not
lose
getting
both
the
shoulders.
shoulders.
Yeah, you're not getting
So
any
if
of it.
it's let's say it's a 100-pound deer that comes in with the hide on, 100 pounds, pull the hide, the head, to feed all that off, it's probably 75 pounds going in the cooler. You're going to lose 25 pounds in head, hide, and feet, you know?
Yeah.
So then you bring that to the table and cut it boneless, you know, probably 35, 40 pounds of boneless meat off
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
If there's no gunshot wounds or, you know,
Sure.
if it's headshot like that one I got today,
Yeah.
you know, great. But if it's been blasted through the shoulder, like bow hunters, you guys are all bow hunters. Bow hunters, there's very little meat damage if you make a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so precise and there's not all the shock wave and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You hit a deer with a rifle,
Yeah, it
you
does
could lose a
damage.
whole side of
Yeah.
of it because it's all bloodshot.
Yeah.
And that bloodshot you talked about earlier, that's going to give you a gamey taste. If you mix that blood even into the burger, you're going to taste that. So we trim all that off. So you could lose 10, 15, 30% of your meat
just off
because
of that.
and I try to be real honest with people when they bring it in and be like, listen, man, this is shot. We had one time a couple years ago, shot 3 times with the rifle through one round, both shoulders and right through the ribs. I'm like, dude, why'd you even bring this down?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're
You're
going
gonna
to
get the hams, maybe.
one ham, because he shot it through one of the hams.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
Oh, man.
there's just not going to be a lot left, you know. And I try to be honest with people.
Yeah.
You can see that when it's brought in, you know. So though there's going to be some loss to that.
Yeah.
But I would say typically you're going to be about 35 to 40% of your skinned weight
Okay.
to meat, somewhere in there. You know, and if you like, because we do a ton of beef and hogs too, and if you like look on the USDA, it breaks it down. I can tell you exact percentages on 1,000-pound beef, you know, what you're going to get back or what to expect, because there's none of that damage.
Yeah.
You know, but that's stuff you don't want to eat. Or like bullet fragments, you know, if it's been shot in the shoulder and that bullet we find bits of metal all over, we're just going to take that whole section out because you don't want to eat that.
Yeah, you don't
You
want to choke on a piece of lead.
Piece of lead, or even if you
consume
don't,
it.
Yeah, you don't want to consume that lead.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's hard to pin it down to an exact number. But if you put a great shot on a deer,
Yeah, in a perfect scenario.
yeah, and you know, put it right through the ribs, double lung it, goes out the other side, not much damage. You lose some rib meat, about 35 to 40% of your check-in weight,
Okay.
and then you're losing 30 or 40% from your live weight. So a 100-pound deer is probably 130, 40 pounds walking around.
Okay.
You know,
Guts
so you
are
kind of
guts are pretty heavy.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy. So but that's what you can look for. And, you know, you hear these stories about that all the time that, you know, well, I took in a 150-pound deer and only got back 20 pounds of meat. Well, first of all, was it a 150-pound deer?
Yeah.
You know, we weigh every deer when it comes in. So we weigh it when it comes in. We weigh it after we skin it. We weigh it when it goes out.
Yeah.
So we have those weights. So, you know, and it goes on your receipt.
Sure.
So everybody big eyes their deer. Like we had this one come in yesterday. It was a nice deer. And the guy said, everybody likes to bet on what their deer weighs.
Yeah.
So I'm lifting it up on the scale and he goes, oh, this one's 210. I'm like, no,
No.
That's not too. I'm like, it's a big deer, but it's not too tough,
yeah.
you know. And then the other guys, oh yeah, it's probably 190. I'm like, it's not 190 either. You know,
Got to
it's like,
remember, we're in Tennessee, not Iowa.
yeah. You know. And it was a big deer, but it was 170 pounds. You know, if I don't weigh that deer though, that guy goes home and he says,
And
oh
he
yeah,
thinks he's got a 210
pound.
pound
And then
deer.
he comes back and he only gets 50 pounds of meat. It's like, what happened to my deer? This guy ripped me off. Well, first of all, it wasn't 210
Yeah,
pounds.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it was 50 pounds less than that,
Yeah.
you know, from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, so I learned that from the very beginning. Everybody thinks their deer's bigger, which I get it. And when you drag that deer out of the woods, that deer, that
It
170
does
pound
feel
deer,
too.
It was
it
like
does
1,000
feel-
pounds.
it was, you know, 230 pounds walking around. So if you moved it with the guts in it, it's a big animal, but it's not by the time you gut it and everything. And that's, so we do that. We weigh every single deer 3 times, you know, when it comes in, after we skin it, and then the final cut weight. And it all goes on your receipt. So you see, I like to be real transparent. You see what you get. And then I'll be honest with you. If you shot it through both shoulders, I know that when you brought it in, I'm going to say, listen, you may not get as much meat as you think because both these shoulders look like they're wrecked, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody's got to have a huge rifle. You know, you don't need a 300 Win Mag to hunt whitetails in Tennessee.
30-30's taking down more deer than any other
That's what I hunt
caliber.
with all the
Oh, I
time.
love it.
It's the best gun, especially in the woods. You don't need to shoot at 200 yards.
No.
Yeah.
You're not going to in Tennessee. Not in Jackson County.
No.
There's very few straight 200 yard.
I was
lanes.
about to say there's not a valley or a hill where there's 200-yard separation
between
there.
them.
Yeah.
So you know, shooting with a smaller caliber, if you can, is so, you know, if you can shoot them with a 30-30 or a 2.23, 2.43, something that's, you know, not going to blow the side out of it, you're going to save more meat.
Yeah.
And shot placement, you know.
Yeah.
You know, people say, "I shoot them through the shoulder so it doesn't run far." Well, shoot them through the lungs; they won't go run far either.
No more lethal shot
You
than
know,
double lung.
They're not going to go far.
Yeah.
They might make it to the bottom of the hill, but
you're going to save so much more
So
meat.
much more meat.
Yeah.
Shooting them through the ribs. You know, we had one yesterday or day before. The guy shot it right in the eyeball, and I was like,
Wow.
I mean, it went in one eye and out the other, and I was like, were you aiming for his eye? I mean, that's a perfect shot because there's no meat damage.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah, it was only 10 yards away." I was like, "Well, good shot, man."
Yeah.
I was like,
funny.
I thought it might have been a fluke, but it went. I mean, blew out both eyes. I was like, that's
Crazy.
perfect.
Yeah.
Headshots are not recommended, but
No.
if you're going to save meat, like when you kill a beef or a hog, you're shooting it in the head.
Yeah.
Not many people eat the head,
Exactly.
but it's not. I wouldn't recommend it on whitetails. It's a
No.
small target, and they can move it so fast.
Yeah.
Like that one today, the guy shot with an arrow in the head, but he was aiming for the ribs, and
Sure.
it turned to run when he let go of the bow, and it went right through her head.
Whoa.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, they can move that fast. And then, you know, how fast an arrow go? 30 yards, split.
Yeah.
second.
I mean, you're talking about
Yeah.
maybe new bows. They're going
50 to
250 to like 280 feet per second.
yeah, so less than a second probably.
Yeah.
You know, half a second, and that deer moved enough.
And that deer moved enough to where,
hit
it's
her in the head.
that's happened to me once before. Deer, I mean, it was with a traditional bow, so it's moving probably 170
Right.
to 180 feet per second. But I did shoot. She was 8 yards away, right under me, and slightly quartering to me, and on the vitals, and my arrow was going to hit exactly where I aimed, but she quickly turned
Yep.
and it shot her in the
Right in
face.
the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They move that
Yep.
fast.
I mean, even when you shoot them in the lungs, I mean, they still have the chance to run pretty far.
Oh, yeah.
within
Or-
a split second.
Or like the story I was telling you with that big deer, he jumped a string on me at 30 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. You know,
Yeah.
they're so fast. So you go out and take a good quality shot. But if you can aim in the ribs, you're going to damage a lot less meat
Yeah.
than anywhere else.
Well, especially with a rifle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think most people are generally, and they're just not, you know, they hit them in the shoulder. They're maybe not as well practiced.
Yeah. Well, now I'm curious. What's your opinion about shooting animals with 223, specifically whitetail?
We see it all the time. I don't think I would.
Okay.
You know, it's a good round. It'll do the
Yeah.
trick.
It's a good round for like a kid.
yeah.
Okay.
I
you
think.
know,
I think one of their, like, if a kid's going to kill a deer with a rifle. I mean, a 223
it's a low recoil, easy to
Yeah.
shoot. You know, my daughter shoots hunts with a 30-30, and she has since she started hunting.
Yeah.
You know, but something like that, you know, we see in the youth season, we see a lot of 223s, 243s, 6.5 Creedmoors, a lot of smaller bullets that don't have a lot of recoils with their, you know, but the, I personally, I've got a 223, but I wouldn't hunt deer with it. Good for varmints or something.
I just bought my son a 350 Legend.
Oh, awesome.
Because I got a can that works with some subs on it.
Yeah.
It's like the quietest.
Oh yeah, that's
suppressed
a great
round.
That's a great round. We had a little girl on our. There's a picture of her on our Instagram, but she killed her first buck, and it was like a
little spike,
like this, and with a 350 Legend with a can on it. But she came in, and her dad brings me deer all the time. He and his brother, I bet they kill 50 deer a year.
Wow.
But they hunt out in Macon County. But anyhow, so she came in, and I said, "Oh, did you get your deer?" She said, "I got me a stud." It was a spike like
I love it.
She's like
so funny.
6.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But she used
so
that 350. The 350 Legend. That's a great round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
it'll knock a deer down, man. Like
same
easy.
with 300 blackout.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. Yep. But yeah, my son's 6, and I took him out. This year was his first youth season. We went out Saturday.
Right.
We left an hour, about 40 minutes earlier than we should have, because we had a doe and a little 4-corn buck come by the camera where we were sitting after we left. But then we didn't go out the next day. He wasn't feeling well. Yeah. He actually wasn't feeling well Saturday.
Well, Sunday was lousy. It was raining. We went out Sunday, me and my daughter.
Yep.
She missed a shot. She shot one way too far for that. Like 170 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Didn't
30,
you guys
30
track it or something? I think.
We went and looked for it, and she swore up and down she hit it, and she didn't. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But she's a good shot. She shot one at 125 yards last year with that.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Her first ever deer.
How old is she?
15.
Oh, awesome.
That's cool, dude.
So she got her first 2 deer last year.
How many kids do you have?
Two daughters.
Cool.
15 and 13.
Cool, man.
I got 2 daughters as well.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's gonna be a wonder if I don't end up in jail.
Yeah. My wife always said, "What are you going to do when they're of age and you got to deal with all 3 of us?" I said, "I get a bigger boat." That's what's
I'm good. Spend more time in the woods and more time on the lake.
That's a great response.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen there.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's why I tease my wife all the time, because I've got 2 girls. It's 3 girls and 2 guys in the house. Me and my son and wife and 2 daughters, and I'm like,
now a female dog too.
Yeah. Now, we just bought a dog.
Yeah.
But I always tease her. I'm like, when these girls are older, I said, me and Jude are going fishing or hunting or doing something. We're out of here.
Oh yeah. A little more time in the woods.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
That's cool. Yeah, I think the juvenile hunt is so cool.
I do too.
I didn't grow up in a hunting family at all. My dad doesn't hunt, and I did a lot of fishing growing up, and so I just think that's such a great thing. And there's so many guys that are like, "Hey, if you know a kid wants to hunt, I'll take him out." I think they just want to be in the woods, but I mean, there's so many opportunities for kids that to just get out, and even if they don't shoot a deer, But a lot of these, the ones like that I know, they'll put them on. I mean, they've got tons of deer, and so that you'll get a deer. That's like my daughter's first one. We went out to a place there just loaded with does. He said you can shoot any does you want. Yeah. And went out there and, she got a doe, and it was spectacular. Awesome. It was on Christmas Day. It was awesome.
That's so cool.
I think it's really important to keep the youth, because this is our, it's on us to continue this tradition,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to get kids out hunting.
Yeah. So I love the juvenile hunt. We do, we all have all kinds of stuff going on when they come down there, and give them a free hat or whatever.
That's
just
so cool.
Just to keep them engaged.
And they get fired up about it, and it's and they're thrilled with a little spike or a doe or whatever it might be. They're just tickled to death with getting out there and getting a deer. That's that's what it's all about,
right?
It's pretty cool because we're on the beginning end of it. because we make like a tree stand alternative, so a hunting saddle, and then you're on the end of the hunt. So it's like it's pretty cool to like, you know, full circle.
Oh,
like, yeah. We get the before, like, hey, check out this deer that I'm like hunting, and then you get to see it. Yeah,
after
pretty
it's
cool.
dead.
Yeah, and then you know that
cool
whole
thing.
story too. They come in and they're like, "Look, I've got pictures of this deer for 5 years, and, you know, whatever." And so seeing that end of it is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's like that deer in my neighborhood I was telling you about. I've got 3 years history with him. I'm just
waiting.
Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah.
The saddles are a big thing this year. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that have switched to hunt saddles, and that's.
Have you had a lot of people come in that are using them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like probably, especially in art. It seems like it's an archery thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I was surprised because I don't even remember it last year. Like I knew about saddles, but I don't remember talking to anybody about it. But this year's been quite a few.
That's cool.
So I think it's a neat thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a like you said, probably public land and archery, and where it's easy to pack in.
Yeah,
and you want to be mobile. Archery makes perfect sense because you got to be. It's a close shot.
Exactly.
So this tree to this tree might make a huge difference. Day to day, where a rifle doesn't. But so I can see that being super.
Yeah, because it's like if you find some hot sun in the woods, and then like there's not a tree that you could get a climber or a lock on into.
Right.
9 times out of 10, you can get a saddle in it.
Yeah.
So it's for archery, like you said, you got to be close to the action, and you know, now you're not hunting for the tree, you're hunting the sign, and it makes a lot of sense.
And you can move. From this morning to this afternoon, you can move 20 yards.
Break down real quick.
Piece of cake. Which is neat. You know.
Yeah, 10 minutes in the tree and 10 minutes out.
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
Yeah, which you can't do even with a climber. You can't do that really.
No.
Yeah.
And packing a climber in,
they're loud and cumbersome,
exhausting.
Yeah.
I did that like 2 seasons. I'm like, no.
Yeah, one of the trail cams we got, we hunt some land that some other people hunt on, but he's got a climber on his back. I'm not kidding you. That climber's bigger than him, dude. It's the funniest photo ever.
Looks like a turtle with a shell on his back, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
He's probably slow as a turtle walking with that thing too.
And loud, you hear him coming. That's the thing. You can't keep all that stuff quiet.
No, you can't.
No matter how much you strap it down and tie it down, and it just rattles.
Yeah, I mean, climbers going up trees are loud. I mean, depending on the time of year, it could be a good thing because the deer might be thinking it's another deer raking the tree, but
not very often.
Yeah, not very often. Yeah,
you got 1 week for that.
You hear the stories about people saying, "Oh, I was climbing my climber and a deer came in," but those are few and far between. So
So. Well, that's cool, man. Well, one of the other things I want to talk to you about, I'm mostly just curious because you went to butcher school, correct?
Yeah.
What does that look like? I'm a big fan of the bearded butchers, man. I love their content.
They're awesome.
They make such good content.
They do.
But like when you entered butcher school, like how long does that process take, and what are the things that you learn when you go into the?
Well, I took like a course. It wasn't like a school like culinary arts school.
Okay.
This was like a 2-week seminar.
Okay, cool.
On breaking down a beef, and it was called. I think that's what it was called, breaking down or something like that.
Yeah.
Breaking down beef, that's what we did. We went in and broke down a whole cow individually. It was already quartered, but...
you probably learned how to get the select cuts.
This was like, like for a butcher case. Like every muscle, what this muscle can do and break it down. It was at a place in New York City that I went. I don't think they're offering it anymore. They got in a little trouble last year. So I won't mention their name.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of their teaching, but anyhow, they it was a great course. It was taught by a guy. I follow him online. He's a great guy, and so we learned how to take apart every muscle of the beef, you know, from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And then what those pieces of meat are good to cook for. I have, you know, I grew up cooking. That's what I love to cook. So I kind of had that. The
sort of a natural progression.
Yeah, so I knew the different cuts, but you don't, you know, when you look at a side of beef and you don't know where the flank steak comes from, you're like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah,
you know, it makes sense.
Exactly.
And all that relates back to a deer like every four-legged animal essentially has the same muscles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just on a beef, they're bigger. So
Yeah.
you might be able to use more muscles off a beef than you could off a deer or a
Right.
pig or a sheep or whatever. So, but they're all break down. So I did a similar class for pork as well down in Georgia, in Savannah, Georgia. And so that's my formal training for it. But most of what I did is by hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, watching YouTube videos and just my knowledge of cooking and understanding what those cuts are. But once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. And I'd love, you want to come down, I'll show you.
Oh, dude, I would love that.
Yeah.
That'd be like a birthday present to me, man.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Oh, you bring
Yeah.
your deer down. We'll cut.
Yeah,
you can
I would
cut your
love to
own
do
deer up.
that.
We'll walk through it. It's easy.
Yeah.
But learning that it's really important. To learn that. And I know a lot of people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We don't cater to the
Well-
guy that wants to cut his own meat.
Sure.
But I want them to get that same experience.
Well, it's really time consuming, and I think that's what
Yeah.
turns a lot of people off to it. Because I know the first deer I ever cleaned and butchered myself, it took me all day.
A whole
to
day
do.
Yeah.
project. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I could be doing a lot of other things right now.
Well, that's the thing. It's time consuming, and
Yeah.
and if you don't have a good setup,
Sure.
Yeah.
that's what.
Which I
adds-
didn't,
Yeah.
so-
I used to do them in my shop at my house.
Yeah.
And hang them from the ceiling, and
Mm-hmm.
it'd be like 4 hours for one small deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time you get everything out, cut it up, pack it, clean up,
Clean
put
it,
it,
yep.
vacuum seal, do whatever you're doing. It takes forever.
Yeah.
So the processor has all those systems. We never have to move anything.
Yeah. You got a system, and you got it's an assembly line.
Yeah.
Basically.
So it's like anything, I'm
Yeah.
sure just like
Yeah.
putting together your
Yeah,
saddles,
just like our saddles. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but it can be taught. You can learn it. And
Yeah.
I would say the average home butcher is going to spend 2 or 3 hours breaking down a deer.
Yeah.
That we can do in a few minutes. But
Yep.
that's part of it. And you
Yeah.
learn so much, and it's so cool. I'd love to teach you and show you. I
that'd
like
be
showing
so
people
fun.
how to do that,
Yeah.
because I just think it's something you're going to enjoy that meat more.
You're
when you
gonna get
know
a sense
more
of
about
pride.
it.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
sense
Right.
of pride of like
even if even if someone else cuts it up for you, but you understand what each cut is and how it can be used and where it came from, it
Yeah.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So kill a deer and bring it down.
Like, you got it.
you got.
Still working on that first.
That's harder said than done for this guy. You
It's
gotta
not
get in
been
there
a
and
good
get on
season
him.
so far.
I'll get you on one of those juvenile hunts.
There you
Dude,
go.
Come on
I
out.
will take whatever you give me at this point. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
no,
no.
but I think that learning process. I think everybody should know how to do it, even if
Yeah.
you don't want to,
Yeah.
or don't have the time to, or it's just way easier. It is way easier to drop it off my shop and come back next week and pick it up.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
but knowing how to do it is so crucial.
If
Yeah,
you got
well,
to if you got to get off grid and the stuff hits the fan, it's probably a good
Yeah.
skill to have.
It's a great skill.
Well, I think not only that, but it's like that's something that I really do enjoy. But like as we continue to grow CRÜZR and everything else, like dude, my time's
Time.
been yeah.
It's all about time.
Yeah, I mean, even every time that I've gone to the woods, like I'm like, if I kill something, I'm gonna take this to Kyle because I
Yeah.
don't have time right now.
Yeah. And that's most people.
Yeah.
I really think most hunters want to do it themselves.
Yeah.
There's some guys that don't. They just like shooting deer.
Yeah.
But it's time. You don't have
Yeah.
time to do or
Yeah.
or whatever, space, anything. So but we try to give you back a product that you would get
Yeah.
if you did it yourself.
Well, it's
that's
awesome that you've taken something that someone like it's a resource that most people don't have, which is like the time to do it,
Right.
and you've created a business out of it, which is it's awesome.
It's a cool
Yeah.
thing.
And you put it where nobody else did.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
and like
and
one
we're
of the
the
most heavily dense
Yeah.
deer
hunting
populations
places,
there is.
in
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
So there's in our area from Whitleyville, I don't think there's CRÜZR might be the next closest shop. It's 40 miles away.
Yeah, I think so.
There's one
Wow.
up there in what's the one in Hillham? There's one up there too.
Pigs, I
Pigs,
think. Yeah.
you know. So, but he's 35 miles away.
Yeah.
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 So
So
exactly.
there's just nothing out there,
Yeah.
So.
I drove through Whitleyville one time to go like I was telling you before, I used to do maintenance on
Yeah.
rental properties and stuff. Well, the property company I was working for had bought a house in Whitleyville, and I drove up there one evening, and dude, I saw it had to be over 100 deer.
Oh yeah. That's like
Over 100 deer.
my barometer every
Yeah.
day. Like when I'm driving to the shop, I'm like, counting deer. I'm like, okay, we'll see some deer today.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if I drive all the way there and I saw 2, I'm like, it's gonna be tough.
It's
in
gonna
the
be a
woods.
tough day. Yeah. It's like
You're like a weatherman for deer, man.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
need to
gonna
start
start
sending
calling
you a
you,
text. Yeah.
Like you
how
can see
many,
them.
how many deer did you see today this morning, Kyle?
Yeah.
You got a 2% chance today, boys.
Do we have a long winter this year?
I should like put that on my Instagram.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
That's a good idea, man.
I told Don, he's like my lead cutter. He's been working for me since my very first season. He's awesome. And I told him this morning, I said, we're going to see some deer today because I saw a ton of them driving in, and yesterday I didn't see any.
Yeah, today was
That's a nice day.
my cameras are blowing up today.
Oh, yeah. They
Uh,
were
This
moving.
morning was pretty cold.
and they haven't in
I think this front's
couple
coming.
days,
It's
yeah.
got them up and moving.
It
yeah.
was cold.
Tomorrow's going to be awesome.
Pre
It's going to
front
be raining, but
yeah, prefrontal like
Saturday morning's
movement
gonna be-
was good.
yeah, Saturday
some
great.
good.
It'll be great. But I think I like to hunt when it's raining and cold. So tomorrow should be a good day for deer.
Are you gonna try to get out tomorrow?
Tomorrow
then?
afternoon if I can.
Yeah. Awesome.
Should be awesome. The other, I don't know how we're doing, but there's something else I wanted to mention. I don't know how many listeners y'all have or whatever, but one of the things we do that I'm really proud of and I love is the Hunters for the Hungry. You guys do any
Oh
of that?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we accept deer for that. We donate. If you don't know what it is, it's a program where they take deer that people don't want or whatever, and they distribute it to families in need.
yeah, they
and,
donate the meat to
they donate the meat
less
to-
fortunate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we process. We're a processor that works with Hunters for the Hungry, and we do. Last year, I think we did like I don't know, 1,500 pounds of deer meat for Hunters for
Oh,
the
that's
Hungry.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So you can donate your whole deer. You can donate a pound. You can donate whatever, and we try to get a pound out of every single deer, and it goes to the one in Jackson County covers like Putnam, Jackson, Macon, Clay counties. So all that meat stays in the area, and it goes to people that need it. And it's a huge program. So I always like to mention every time I
Yeah,
can.
no, of course.
So if you get out and get a deer, whatever, you just don't need it. Your freezer's full, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, or if you just
Yeah.
want to donate a pound.
just want to donate, or bring your deer down and say, hey, just put 5 pounds of hamburger meat in the Hunters for the Hungry.
Yeah.
We do it every day, and we've already collected 300 pounds this year.
That's awesome.
And, I think we had 3 whole deer donated, and whatever pounds. We try to get a pound from every deer. Most people aren't going to miss a pound of hamburger meat.
I try to donate at least one deer a year.
Yeah, and
to
in these
Hunters for Hungry.
counties that the 3-a-day counties, if anybody's out there listening, go out there and whack a few and bring them down.
Yeah,
It
bring
doesn't
'em down.
cost you anything.
you still get to kill something.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost. You just drop it off, and we take care of everything.
You
else.
get a cool sticker too.
Get a nice big orange sticker to put on your car, Yeti or
Cooler,
you
whatever,
put it on.
man. Yeah.
But it's an awesome program, so I always try to mention that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's I really believe in it, and it's a great thing
Yeah.
for our local community, and they keep it local. They don't, it's all across the state,
Sure.
but every collection area keeps it in that local area.
Yeah, if we're able, anyone that's listening, if you're able, you should help the less fortunate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and that's easy. You get to kill an extra deer.
Yeah.
It's not. I shouldn't say that. You can't kill an extra one.
No, no,
Yeah.
you
still
are
got
are
tags.
burning a tag.
You're
but
burning a tag, but
but
if it's
if-
one you're not, if you're a buck hunter and you don't shoot does, shoot a doe and bring it down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if-
Use your doe tag.
but if you live in Unit L, you get
get
infinite
free
amount of
Yeah.
no tags.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So go up there and go to some public land in Macon County and
Yeah.
shoot some does and bring them down and donate. It doesn't cost you anything.
yep,
We love to process them, and it's a great
Yeah.
program.
helps feed the less fortunate.
You should
so.
have I've just blanked on his name. He lives here in town. He's the head of it for the state. I'll get you his
Okay,
name. You should
yeah.
have him in. It'd
Yeah.
be a good conversation.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't. I'll get his name here in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
He's
good.
a great dude.
Well, cool, man. Well, as far as like social media and stuff like that, what would be your social handles for people to contact you?
Whitleyville Station. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Whitleyvillestation.net is our website. And
Okay.
that's the easiest way to find us.
Sweet.
Or come out to Whitleyville. Right.
Yeah, I was gonna
Heart of
say.
town.
Yeah, put heart of town. Your address, telephone number.
It's
if
all
you
on the
the
website.
website.
Perfect.
Whitleyvillestation.net.
good deal.
Yeah, and if you get a deer, just come down. We're there during deer season. You don't have to bother calling. I always tell people if you kill one at dark, shoot me a text or call me. But we're there anyhow.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple local guys that if it's late, like I had one last Sunday call me at like 9:45. He's like, I just got this deer out of the woods. I'm like, dude, it's 80 degrees outside.
Yeah,
but I've got a
jeez.
high school kid lives right around the corner. He'll run down and put it in the cooler. So
Nice.
you just
Cool.
call us.
That's
We'll
good.
get it in there if we're not there.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. It's
Good
awesome.
deal.
All right, well, dude, I appreciate you joining
Oh,
us.
this is
This
fun,
was a
man.
really fun
Yeah.
podcast, man.
That was
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad
Thanks,
y'all
Kyle.
had me. I'll come back anytime. I could talk all day.
Yeah. Well, us too. So.
Well, appreciate it, man. And for everybody listening, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.